Ladies and gentlemen, fellow colleagues, leaders, and distinguished guests, a very warm welcome to you and thank you for joining us for this webinar. First and foremost, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to Regent Business School for creating this platform to enable leadership conversation. We hope that you enjoy this webinar and that you'll derive important learnings as an aspiring leader. During this webinar, we'll cover important topics, retrospectively speaking, what AI is all about, how AI is reframing the future of work, the impact of AI in technology and innovation, how AI is reshaping communication and media. We will then be followed by breakthrough questions, as well as a Q&A, where our keynote speakers will happily address any questions that you might have. So please hold your thoughts while our keynote speakers demystify important concepts, and stay tuned as we unpack what AI is all about. Before we get started, first and foremost, I would like to introduce myself as your program director. My name is Neliswe Kumalo. I have many job descriptions, as you may have seen. For those that don't know me, I have more than 15 years experience in strategic deliverable or delivery of ICT programs, with extensive experience in technical implementation, mostly in the software and information technology space. This includes integration of APIs and EDI, network operating systems, web-based development, and continuous improvement programs. This also incorporates AI, CRM, and SAP. I have widely been involved and worked in various organizations such as First National Bank, Bidvest, Altron, including SARS. Over and above this, I've championed many initiatives, including partnerships with the Center or Organization of Economic Corporate Development and other organizations such as GT Nexus in New York, SAP in India. We have led many programs in the exchange of information within different countries. Moreover, I have championed under public sector and private partnerships with organizations such as the Reserve Bank and the Banking Association of South Africa. In my tenure, I've led other initiatives including Rainwater and National Treasury Partnership in an apprentice program where I've fostered different collaborative aspects in terms of organizing and partnering with private sector and SOEs like ESCOM. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm also a member of the Program Management and Project Management South Africa, including PMI Global, where I've displayed my passion in publishing articles, journals, including white papers in the topic of technology and projects. And more recently, I have a podcast on Apple, also addressing topics under technology and leadership. I hold a master's degree from Regent, which I can proudly say as a Regent alumna, I wouldn't, I wouldn't have achieved all these accolades and my career growth spurt if it wasn't for Regent. I also hold a BCom degree, a postgraduate diploma in program management, over and above that, an advanced diploma also in project management and other various certifications in program management and project management, including Prince 2, as well as leadership development from the Wits Business School. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's important before we dive into the main topics with our keynote speakers, it's quite imperative that we first unpack a retrospective in terms of what AI is all about. Over the past decade, we've witnessed a rapid shift in technological innovations, which is driven by AI. This era of AI propels new leadership thinking and lifelong learning, including regenerative models. Leaders who really want to succeed in this age need to consciously balance delicate interplay between the human soft side and also including the understanding of the world around them to better lead the organization. In light of this, it's important for us as leaders and aspiring leaders to develop into true leaders capable of navigating the opportunities as well as challenges that AI has presented. Therefore, it is critical for leaders to adapt and change as AI permeates the modern workplace if they want to stay relevant. So, what is AI? There's been different concepts in terms of what AI is. We have many pioneers as early as the 1950s who had interest and were very crucial in the development of AI. But according to Wikipedia, AI is described as the intelligence of machines or software as opposed to intelligence of humans. And it's also a field of study in computer science that helps develop and studies intelligent machines. Some also refer to AI as to machines themselves. But I would say, from my perspective, AI is a simulation of machines in mimicking human behavior. Let's further unpack this in terms of the key components of AI. So, first? When was AI first developed? There's many pioneers, as I've mentioned earlier, including Alan Turing as well as John McCarthy. Alan Turing is well known as the father of AI, and he developed the first test case in artificial intelligence. It was fully tested and successful. And John McCarthy was the first man who coined the term AI. There's a lot that happens between the 1950s up until 2010. And during the 1970s, just before the 21st century, with the changes in the industrial revolutions, there were a lot of issues in terms of AI development. And a lot of initiatives were put on hold due to lack of computing power. And then we can already see that by 2010, there was an AI spring where there was a technological renaissance. We had internet, we had big data, IoT, and others. So to date, we can say that AI has become embedded in every aspect of our society and lives, from chatbots, virtual assistants like Siri, Alexa, to automated industrial machinery and self-driving cars. It has really become difficult to ignore its impact. And the importance of AI lies in its ability to automate complex tasks, improve decision-making processes, as well as enhance the overall efficiency of various industries. One of the key components of AI is machine learning, which is a perfect description of how machines learn to mimic the human behavior. And this is also facilitated by deep learning. AI also has one of the main components, which is neural network, which is the main attributing factor in terms of data processing. Another important component is the natural language processing, namely called the NLP, which helps AI translate different languages and understand different concepts in mimicking human behavior. And looking at computer vision, which also describes how AI can be used to mimic the function of a human eye in terms of a visual and vision and all the other activities that are possessed by human behavior. And then the last key component that we'll touch on is the cognitive computing, which is mimicking the human brain. So, how does AI work? AI works with data input through text, speech, image, context to determine specific outcomes that are required. This is further processed with algorithms and certain rules that are required. AI will then interpret this data, predict, and provide a specific action. So the outcome could either be success or failure. This will then be followed by assessment, analysis, including discovery as well as feedback. And then based on whatever outcome that was derived, AI inputs will be adjusted, the algorithms will be changed to provide a desired outcome. Now, let's look at the key factors in terms of AI in the past 5 years. There's been extensive research conducted by various scholars as well as key industry role players. According to Statista in 2020, revenue for artificial intelligence software markets worldwide is expected to reach $126 billion by 2025. And PMI reported in 2019 that globally, organizations are racing towards AI proficiency due to the current push of the increased productized environment. This is quite important in the realization of organizational strategy and also depends heavily on how these organizations can execute those AI-driven projects. A recent report by Gartner also indicated that 37% of organizations have implemented AI in some form. This percentage of enterprises employing AI grew by 270% over the past 4 years. Other predictions indicated that by 2025, 95% of customer satisfaction will be powered by AI. Ladies and gentlemen, in light of this, one can really concur with the view that there's a lot of benefits and potential that can be achieved through AI. It could either be positive benefits or there could be negative implications. We will now move to the next segment where our keynote speakers will discuss the impacts of AI in the real world. Starting with Mamur, Manur, excuse me, who will be further unpacking how AI is impacting the future of work. Manur is a dedicated and skilled psychometrist with a passion for understanding and assessing cognitive abilities with a background in applied and industrial psychology. Manur brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to the field of psychometry. Over and above that, she has completed her undergraduate and postgraduate studies in psychology and has recently completed a Lead Forward program with the McKinsey and Company. Driven by commitment to ongoing professional development, Mano stays abreast of the latest advancements in technology to ensure that she offers the highest quality services to clients. She has gained valuable experience in working closely with accounts like DPSA, BMW, Copter, including Escom. This is where she's honed her skills in administering and interpreting a wide range of psychometric tests. This experience has equipped her with the ability to tailor assessments to meet the unique needs of each client. Manu, over to you.
Hi guys. Okay, so as you guys have already heard from Nelly, that AI has been a very integrated part of our lives lately. So today I'm going to talk about how it impacts future of work in terms of my job description. So um, it has definitely reshaped the future of work by leveraging industrial psychology and psychometry. And it streamlines the talent acquisition through automated screening and predictive hiring analytics. So yeah, I wanted to give you guys an example of how automated assessment and testing has changed our lives on day-to-day basis. So we have a lot of set websites or set systems for us that help us um, analyze or assess different candidates that come through to us. Let's say, for example, for BMW, we would get like mass assessment, and they would include like maybe 50 candidates that would come in for assessments, and they would um, need to be assessed on, there's different assessments that you need to do. Like there's GRT2, there's TTB2, there's CRTB2. So these were the assessments that included um, questions like rate yourself based on this and this. So they were more like, multiple choice questions. And if you were doing that, um, you needed to do a large process where you would give out the papers to the candidates, and the candidates would fill it out, and then you would manually put it in the laptop or the computer, scan it in, make their folders, and then analyze them. But now with these systems, it has made so much easier that you just make their profile on the laptop or the computer, whatever we're using, and then it automatically saves their profile. They do their assessment. The results are generated within like maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and we are able to give them feedback in a very short time compared to the olden times where we like, sit and do this and that. So in that sense, it has really changed the game. It has also changed the recruitment, process, where hiring process is made easier with machine learning. It gives us candidates that are more capable and more, suited for the positions that are advertised. And then it also provides personalized learning and development, where adaptive learning systems, AI powered systems, can tailor training programs to individual employees based on their psychometric profiles to ensure the learning and interventions that are more targeted, personalized. So they are more targeted towards the certain things that you might need. And then AI also um, promotes the well-being and the engagement of the employees. So it's like sentiment analysis. Then we have performance monitoring and feedback. Then we have bias reduction and fairness. So in this sense, we have more. Um, so in fair, what I mean here is that it reduces bias. So if I'm hiring someone, I'm not looking at their personal, like their appearances or whatever. I'm looking at exactly what the computer or what my system is providing me in terms of what they have been assessed on. So there's no bias in that sense. And then if you look at the ethical consideration part of this, there's more ethics involved in this, because in every assessment that you administer, in the beginning of the assessment, the system will ask you to sign an ethical form that will allow us to say that, you know what, we are protecting your data. Your data is not shared with anyone except us and the company that has sent them to us. And then it also promotes continuous learning and adaptation. So you have like it's like a learning process, so you learn new things every day. um, it helps organizations prepare and for the upcoming changes in the job market. So you're always up to date with the stuff that is coming through. You always up to date with the new assessments that are out in the market. So AI has really, really enhanced learning and the future of work process in that sense. um, if you look at the hypothesis part of this, so the integration of the AI-driven applications in industrial psychology and psychometry is anticipated to revolutionize the future of work, right? And then, um, so it optimizes the talent acquisition and personal and promotes the personalized learning and development. So just like I mentioned in the previous part, that it really enhances the personalized learning and development. So in this sense, we are always learning new things. We are always get hiring new people that are more advanced in a lot of areas. So it makes a lot of difference. And then it also um, is very essential in achieving these positive outcomes and ensuring that there's trust in workplace, right? We'll move on to the next slide, which will be, so it just says how or what can leaders do to embrace changes in their organizations to succeed? So in my opinion, or in my capacity, how industrial psychologists or how psychometrists can navigate AI-driven changes is by successfully investing in education, promoting continuous learning, collaborating with the experts, transparently communicating with the AI adoption, implementing ethical guidelines involving employees in decision making, facilitating change management, encouraging innovation. So these are all the things that leaders that can be you tomorrow uh, can can use all these elements to actually navigate the future, basically, by like by promoting positive workplace, by trying to implement or trying to add in everything AI related to make your workplace more advanced or technological friendly. Um, and AI allows organizations to leverage technological advancements for improved talent management and workplace well-being. So I've just mentioned the same thing just now, where um, leaders can do a lot of things AI related to promote a very different workplace environment compared to the olden ones. And this was it from me. Over to you, Nelly. Thank you.
Thank you, Manor. What a very insightful aspect in terms of how AI is reframing the future of work. I hope the audience is still enjoying this webinar, and we look forward to addressing your question that you might have for Manor later in the program. We will now move to the second segment of the webinar where Victor will unpack how AI is affecting or impacting on technology and innovation. Victor currently works for Imperial Health Science as a senior IT executive. In addition, he serves as a senior digital IT executive for WMS capability in the Sub-Saharan South Africa, or African region rather, regional organization rather. He's held other positions such as the CLIT manager at DP Schenker, or Schenker in the South African office, and he's also assumed the position of interim CIO at the same company through September 2021 for a very short period. Victor holds qualifications in Bachelor of Science in IT Engineering, amongst others. Moreover, he's an expert in system architecture, software development, and driving automation. More recently, he's been driving Digital Value Generator 2025 initiative by utilizing technologies such as RPA and automations, boosting operational efficiencies. Over and above that, all, all his achievement, Victor is also a family man with three children, and he also strives to stay at the forefront of the technology landscape. We are really looking forward to Victor further unpacking how AI is impacting this particular landscape in terms of technology and innovation. Victor, over to you.
Good morning, colleagues, and thank you, Nelly, for such a warm welcome. Um, I will be further unpacking the impact of AI in technology and innovation space. If we look at the impact of AI within the IT space, it has been significant and far-reaching. The impact has been huge, colleagues. AI has, changed the way IT systems are designed, managed, and secured, leading to improved efficiency and enhanced cybersecurity. When we talk about the enhancement of cybersecurity, we're looking at how AI has empowered the IT teams to look at the trends of how attackers can hack the environments, and how we can improve in terms of managing any sort of cyber attacks. And it also enhanced the user experience. All right. When we look at the hypothesis, one key area where AI has made a substantial impact is in IT automation. I'll give an example where we have implemented a solution around RPA where the billing activity were like mammoth task, and the impact was quite huge, where it will take about 4 weeks or 3 weeks for the billing ladies to actually complete their billing activities. So this has actually, when we implemented that solution, we reduced the number of hours that the guys were putting an effort in to almost 3 hours a week, which really made things easier for the guys to actually bill our customers and realize the revenue quicker. So that's one of the impact that AI has introduced within our environments. All right, and some of the tasks that have been manually been performed by human being, AI has the power and the capability of mimicking those tasks and creating efficiency by completing those tasks quicker and smoother as well. For an example, when you look at how testing has been conducted in the previous years, that has changed quite significantly because now you can automate the testing by introducing the AI capability. Also, network monitoring used to be mundane work, but with the new technology, it's easier to monitor your network and prevent any attackers, or also optimize how your network is performing. And we have achieved that with a lot of AI algorithms, and it has really freed up some of the focus times that the IT researchers have been putting in, and allows them to focus on more complex and strategic tasks, and ultimately improving productivity and reducing the risk of a human error. Thanks, Nelly. Let's go to the next one.
Thank you very much, Victor. And I would also say that one of the important aspects in terms of what leaders can do to embrace the changes within the organization, it's important to better understand how their environment will be completely transformed. And I think it's also interesting to also note what you've mentioned in terms of the automation of the manual task and how this has provided better efficiencies in most organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in the third segment. Please hold your thoughts, and we'll give you an opportunity at the end of this particular segment to pose any questions that you might have for our keynote speakers. We will now go into the segment of how AI is reshaping media and communications, and this will be addressed by Misiwe. Misiwe has over 15 years experience in sales and marketing, and she's worked with different industries, including private and public sectors and SOEs. This includes years spent in marketing and communications, where she's led many initiatives in brand development for planning, implementation, and monitoring key activities with strategic partners, which has immensely contributed towards commercialization of products as well as collaborations in telecoms with OEMs, including SMEs, startup models, and fixed line products. Misiwe has been featured in different publications, including Hyper Independence, Destiny magazine, including Essays of Africa. Misiwe holds various qualifications, including a postgrad degree in integrated, postgraduate degree honors in integrated organizational comms, a bachelor's degree in communication science from UNISA, a diploma in public relations from Pittman Training UK, as well as other various certifications. I will now hand over to Misiwe, and while she further unpacks how AI is reshaping this particular aspect. Misiwe, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Thank you very much, Nelly. Thank you very much as well to the program organizers and the audience that is on the webinar. I hope that we'll do a lot of cross collaboration and take away some key learnings around the much talked about topic of AI and how that fits into our environment and essentially how we're going to be rugged in pivoting this fast moving change. I'm hoping you can hear me and you can see me. Firstly, what I want to talk about, colleagues, is getting an overview of how communications or how AI is reshaping communications and media, specifically looking at where we come from with the way we used to communicate, say from the 70s leading up to where we are now. I just specifically want us to focus on this mid-2000s forward segment that you see on your block that is white, the left-hand side. In the 70s, we were communicating primarily through social media such as MySpace, LinkedIn, etc. To really see social media. If you look at where we are, say, about 2010, and moving forward, where we see platforms such as Snapchat, it really is testament to AI advancement as well as digital marketing communication has taken over really to moving over to the infographic on the right-hand side. This just gives you a view. Just one back, please, Nelly. Just one back. So just while she's finding, just find that slide again. The methodology there was to paint the context to say social media usage within different continents. What has led to social media usage, essentially drilling down to the fact of how we communicate is predominantly the use of AI, big data, really the behavior.
Monsieur, perhaps mute your video. Perhaps stop your video because the network connection is not good. Thank you. Please continue.
All right, so I'll move over to look at as a pro and as a con. So the person to change everything, everything is Cheryl is a psychologist who said one of the emotional that one can always hide behind deliberate nonchalance. So what is she saying there? Essentially, she's saying, she noticed a trait that human beings can say, I'm using communications with social media, and I've said something, I've posted something that they have shown up on social media has been kind of it's kind of a veil for you to hide behind to say, oh, I'm using social media, but I didn't know what I was saying. So in terms of there's a book by Dave Criswell. Essentially, what he's highlighting is the concept of similarity. In terms of definition, just want the slides to be moving. Can you hear me?
Monsieur, that's better. Yes.
Okay, I'm saying the slides are moving. Can you go back to the slide on similarity? Thank you. So in terms of definition, the Cambridge University has coined singularity to be the point in time which advances in AI where machines are smarter than human beings. What does that mean for you and I? It simply means there will be a point where a machine will learn human tonality in terms of communication communication, human text, human speech, how humans communicate, even at a personal level, how Masiwe communicates, how the pitch of her voice and her tonality comes across when she's speaking about a certain topic. And it will mimic that so well that there will be a point at which we won't be able to distinguish if it is Masiwe speaking or it is a machine. In conjunction with that, Brazil is sensitive. Can we just go back one more? Can you hear me? Is it my sound? Maybe it's not clear. Nelly, can you please go back, please?
Misiwe, yes, we lost you for a moment. Excuse me. We lost you there for a minute. Please continue.
Can you just go back to the slide and see? So it says that singularity is a combination of three factors, mainly being genetics, nanotechnology, and robotics. So what are the main things that he is saying? Where is singularity taking us? We know it is here, but what does that mean for the way we view the world? So firstly, singularity exists as an achievable goal for humanity, whether you are pro or con. The fact of the matter is that singularity is existing and it is a fast-growing, achievable concept that is being implemented in the real world. Law and accelerating research technology is progressing towards the singularity at an exceptional rate. The function of the human brain is that we can grow in the future. And lastly, we've seen come out in tidbits in the main media spaces that medical advancements will make it possible for a significant number of human beings to live long enough for the exponential growth of technology to intersect and surpass the processing of the human brain. And just underpin that with the fact that this is all AI enablement. Even in the medical field, human beings being able to live longer is as a result of AI. Thank you, Lily. Next slide. Thank you. If you can just play the clip.
Attention, South Africa. Life-changing news. Elon Musk just revealed a game changer. Your daily grind might become a thing of the past. How? Elon's introducing a groundbreaking project that makes money using smart tech. Ready to transform your life? Stick with us.
So this is just something that, as you can see, is the source referencing. This is newsreader. Say that this is a fake. You do not deliver this piece of it. She is no way affiliated. But this is, it highlights that in the form in which we communicate and in AI tools such as in AI, human. What is a bit behind in terms of speech and the facial movements, but it is highlighting the alarming accelerated rate, which this kind of is making its way into media. So again, it begs the question of, as we advance, as the technology is being as we communicate so our communication to the world, will there be a thin line between what is real and what is considered, and I suppose the AI terms as being deep fake? Thank you. We can move on to the next slide. So once again, I've spoken about AI. This is again the platform that was used. Also bringing attention in terms of communication once is underpinning it to that graph on the right-hand side. This is some data that I found from Translated. It speaks to versus machine translation services. So in where human beings able to translate words per minute, AI, advancement in technology, machine is able to translate words in 1 second. So we have disparity where it takes 3 seconds to translate a word, and we have machine that is able to do that within a second. Again, think in the context of communication, think in the context of a translator, accelerate that advanced communication. The next slide. So, what does this mean, colleagues? Spaces, what does this mean? What does this mean? Is the stage of the fast accelerating media communications. I don't want us to lose focus on a very crucial and underpinning factor that speaks to intelligence. Yes, absolutely, it's the way we act as humans. Absolutely, it's going to have a place in see. But what does this mean in terms of being an inclusive leader, taking into consideration the advancement in technology? So, as far as the SDG is concerned from the UN, it speaks very holistically about inclusion. It speaks about inclusion, ensuring that there's opportunities, irrespective of gender, age, ethnicity, etc. So, what does that mean in the context of that? It's to say, let's make sure that everybody is able to get on board and has equal opportunities to be involved in advancement of technology as we move on as leaders. Secondly, what speaks about inclusion in the sense of must be a point of development. Development is interests, jobs, education, with all the social ills that we see. So the inclusion and looking beyond the inclusion that speaks to gender, looking beyond the inclusion that speaks to the color spectrum, looking beyond the face value inclusion. I suppose which brings me to my on the specific slide. That's been advanced as the 12th official language. And as of last year, I think the president did announce that African SASL, as it is known as short list, but South African is officially a language within South Africa. So just put the context. What does that mean? Individuals who make who use South African language as their most or their popular or their only medium of communication. That is what, as leaders, we need to think about in terms of inclusion, AI advancement, and communications in the places which we have influence over. Next slide, thank you, Melissa. Okay, so what am I saying in terms of I think Melissa had already just spoken briefly in my bio about the fact that sales, and I had the pleasure of leading communications based locally here in Pretoria. The company is known as so I specifically wanted to zone in on the advancements that are being made already at a local level to ensure that is also facilitated. What this company is doing is that they are specifically focusing on advancing digital communications to human interaction technologies to solve societal problems. So again, back to the language. What does that marriage look like for that language facilitated as a language advancement in digital communications? So this specific company delivers specifically happening around this. So as him, which enables users to opt for South African Sign Language to complete a banking transaction. I think that speaks again to reading the facial expressions, being able to do text-to-speech delivery, and giving the opportunity to users who in transaction. The second launch with is what's called Reassembly X. Again, this is a speech to text conversation between a hearing person a person who is using South African Sign Language and the wearable glass technology, again, making use of AI enablement to be able to deliver that specific. Lastly, what the company has done is to do these digital services, which you'll see is kind of that which means facilitating that in a game activity that makes it more engaging. Thank you. Slide. Thank you, Nelson. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yue. That was very insightful. And ladies and gentlemen, it's quite evidently that all the aspects that have been discussed, how we have now seen how these have immensely attributed to the technological wave that we are witnessing today. And quite importantly, we've seen how the key components of AI play a role in terms of deep learning, mimicking of human behavior, and we've also witnessed in terms of how misuse of AI, could also result to by looking at deepfakes, in terms of how facial recognition can be stolen from one individual to the other. We now move to the second last segment of the day, where we'll discuss the breakthrough questions, which will be addressed by my co-host, Vanencia Chilowani. Vanencia is an educational professional with over a decade experience in the educational sector. Her leadership and management experience ranges over years of student leadership, quality assurance, and professional development, having worked for the QC and currently professional body in South Africa. She further identifies as a diligent educational strategist who's very task-focused, action-oriented, as well as an activist for results-based management, with a passion for improvement as well as empowering a developing community. Vanencia holds various qualifications, which includes an MBA, Lean Six Sigma, PGDM, Bachelor of Education Honors, and Bachelor of Education in Intermediate Phase. Despite all her accolades, Vanencia is a wife and a mom of two bundles of joy, which she views as her blessing. Without further ado, Vanencia, over to you.
Good afternoon, participants, as well as our panelists. It's such a pleasure to be with you. I trust that I'm audible. My apologies, I will not be showing my video so that I have network quality. As you know, we've gone through a session where we have had the three presentations as well as our opening monologue, which I must appreciate Nelly Siwe and the team for. Our breakthrough questions are the following that I'd like to put to our panelists. Firstly, desired leadership style to move organizations through the current global digital transformation and push. The second one is, what would you do to implement a winning technological strategy, and what would it look like? And our third one is, are you concerned that artificial intelligence could take over your job? So if we can take question by question, I'm going to open the floor. Our first one, desired leadership style. My apologies, if you can just go back. Desired leadership style to move the organization through the current global digital transformation and pushing through. Do we have any of our panelists that would like to take that particular question on? Okay, there's no feedback yet. Our second one is, what would you do to, oh, there we go. Msizi Tolo, over to you.
I think the system thinking orientation, right, to be able to move the organization through the global transformation. Important to have that style in particular, because there's a lot of silos that are happening within the business. So how does that leader specifically drive, whether it has how does that specific leader shared value model within that business, and how do they get buy-in from all the different silos to drive the specific digital transformation? So for me, that specifically speaks to a systems style of leadership. So where the specific leader is able to break down into silos and then bring it back to the vision of what it is that needs to be achieved in that business. As well as I think to some degree, there is room for a charismatic. We are in businesses that we work with. I think as a leader, it's important to always think the triple bottom line. So how am I affecting change at a people level? How am I affecting change at a planet level? And how am I affecting change? So that's also important to have a charismatic leader that has bought into the values of being able to think overall in terms of triple bottom line. I beg your pardon. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the charismatic leadership style that you have brought forth. I think it is very important, especially with regards to the assimilations that take place between the human factor and what the AI brings. Victor, over to you.
Yeah, just to echo what Miss Yu has said. A leader needs to be very open-minded, and be pro-change as well. You need to stay informed in terms of what is happening around you and the industry as well. So I will say, such a leader will also be able to foster culture of innovation within the business, which also speaks to how you can transform your organization. And also, collaboration with other leaders within the industry to see what you can do to also, foster that transformation within the industry as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Victor. I must agree with you. The collaboration versus the transformation, as well as the indication that as much as the world is becoming bigger, it's actually becoming smaller by virtue of the AI world that we find ourselves in. That's very insightful. If we can move over to our second question, which is what would you do to implement a winning technological strategy, and what would it look like? With the perspectives that have currently been sketched, what would a winning technological strategy look like? Okay, while you still think of that, maybe we can move on to the last one. Are you concerned that artificial...
I
yes?
think...
Sure, please proceed.
I can address this one. I think like with any other business strategy, it's important for leaders to have a clear vision and objectives, and most importantly, scanning the environment around you, especially when it comes to technological strategies, because you cannot ignore many factors, including the political environment, the legal objectives, legislatives, depending on the country that you are in. It's important to understand what could be any other constraint that could impact your winning strategy as an organization. And most importantly, you need to ensure that you bring in the relevant stakeholders, you identify those stakeholders upfront in terms of creating that collaboration or agreeing on specific in terms of what the strategy should look like, and ensuring that you also bring in your people within your teams and within your organization, ensuring that we have buy-in from all the parties concerned. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Siwe. I must appreciate what you've brought forth. I think one needs to be highly vigilant with regards to the macro and micro environments that we operate in. And we must have our analysis in place so that when we take a particular strategic move, we are part of the first movers. So thank you for that. Mrs. Siwe, and then we'll go to Victor. Thank you.
That's proposed by the likes of Miles and Snow when you speak about business strategy, right? You speak about three different pillars that leaders need to have in terms of implementation, right? they speak specifically about either a business leader being a prospector. So are you somebody that's constantly searching for new strategy, an analyzer, someone who has exposure and making and buying strategies, or are you a protector? So are you a business leader that looks at making opportunities and has that they use to strategy. So for me, moving in terms of implementing and getting buy-in into an economic strategy, I think leaders need to be very aware of how their leadership style overlay with the overall business. And then
I can see that you're speaking. Okay, proceed.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better. Continue.
So, first thing I was saying that implementing strategy is clear about where they fit in and the landscape. If they want to defend the business, if they want to analyze what's happening within the business, or they have a sketch of how do they penetrate into markets. I think that's very important in the business strategy over implementation in the business world. I hope that you've captured me or heard me correctly. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I must appreciate the whole discussion around stakeholder groupings and why it's important to have them on that influential slide. Victor, over to you. Victor, please unmute.
All right. I think first and foremost, you got to understand, what does AI bring to the fore and its capability for you to be able to define a strategy that will give you a front foot. You need to have a clear use cases within your environment, which also will enable you to create value out of it. And you need to also build invest in talent, that can help you achieve your strategy. And I think those are the key things that you need to take into consideration. And by building that pool of talent, assembling a team of experts, it helps you to drive your goal and achieve it, and give you a front foot in terms of your competitors as well. Because I mean, let's be honest, all this that we are doing here is about having the edge above people who are competing for your businesses as well. Yeah, thank you.
Good point for this, Victor. One needs to be extra vigilant, especially if you are entering a market which may be saturated or an emerging market where you need to be a first mover. Those are valid points, and I must appreciate that. Mrs. Syria, your hand is still up. Okay, we're going to move on to our last question. Are you concerned that artificial intelligence could take over your job? I think when we consider resistance to change, what you do not know, you may fear, and what you fear, you may be apprehensive about. Within the education sector, this has been a discussion, and what we've been clear about is that the role of the teacher is going to be enhanced, not discredited. And I think that is the thinking that we find ourselves within the education sector. But over to you, panelists. Are you concerned that artificial intelligence could take over your job? Yes, Nelisiwe?
I would say, Vanisha, from a personal perspective, I'm not too concerned. However, there does seem to be a growing concern amongst different industries relating to this particular topic. But also on the same token, from my perspective, I see AI as a collaborative partner that could be used to enhance current activities. And I would say I see the future, with greater collaboration and human and machine, sort of activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelisiwe. Victor?
I concur with Nelly. I don't see this as a threat. Instead, or maybe because I'm speaking from the IT space, I see this as an enhancement and an opportunity to bring forth optimization and efficiency. And obviously, I mean, if you look at our labor laws within the country, they do protect us a bit in terms of that. So I don't see any concerns around that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Victor.
Victor. Just to add into that, Valentia, as well, on Victor's point, I also see this as an opportunity for people to reskill themselves as well in terms of learning different roles, enhancing their education so that they can be better aligned to all the changes that AI is going to be introducing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I think what's insightful from what you've shared is that we need to consider the enhancements. And once we've considered the enhancements, we are able to recognize the importance of what they bring. Can we please move over to our last slide, and then we're going to go to the Q&A questions. Thank you so much. Colleagues that have joined us online, this is now an open call to you. Are you available to pose your questions? We've got a few questions that are through our chat. Let me just go to our chat. The first one was, morning all, are we going to complete an attendance register and get a CPD certificate for attendance as well? I think this one is for Region Business School. Region Business School, can you advise?
Vanesha, I would suggest that perhaps they send an email
Greeting. Oh, sorry. Yes, please proceed. Sorry, say that again.
I would suggest that perhaps they send an email directly to the employability email address.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Nilisiwe. I really appreciate that. And then the second one was, greetings to everyone. I would request that the informative presentation is shared with all attendees. Nilisiwe, will that be possible?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much. Our next one, good morning. Does digital marketing fit well into AI? I think there was a whole presentation on digital marketing, which we must appreciate. And that because that presentation will be shared, you'll be able to see that. But I'm going to open it. Any additions that we want to add, colleagues?
Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
But I'll take that one. So as far as answering the question, yes, digital marketing does pretty well as into AI as well. So if you think in terms of how big data and being able to predict human behavior, is coming into has seen that social media based on behavior of the kind of articles, kind of information we've been researching, it's able to do predictable taste as to what kind of articles, topics we found interesting that align with our specific interests. So what does that have to do as a marketer, for you as a digital marketing person, is you're able to connect better with your customer, able to plan their needs in one scenario, and you're able to deliver marketing that's specific to them. I think in conjunction with that, if you look as well again on social media, being able to predict the specific geographic locations of where a customer is. So, for example, if images by social media that are centered around a Victoria area, and this could be things that you are a marketer, using digital marketing, you can do your location. I'm having Victoria, for example, and I need to ensure that with these impacts around people, you're able to use AI technology to give you insight as to where these people are located, and you to have that penetration higher. Again, just like labeling the point, I'm sure of us have made use of streaming services such as Netflix. If you guys have a look, you go on Netflix, it recommends in getting into the user behavior. User if marketer, you're able to be more effective in creating stimulus in your product and the customer that you're marketing to. I hope that has answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Siwe. I think you were audible and clear. There was a few glitches where we missed you, but you were able to take us back there. Thank you so much. There is a comment that says a person using AI will take your job. I think that's a very interesting perspective, and I think one needs to be able to support the participant who raised that question, because from a developmental perspective, what we don't know, we can't work through. And therefore, it's important that we are firstly informed what it is that we need to be conscious of and how do we come across that. I think that's a point that we need to appreciate. The next question is, which is the question which is not asked. Who came up with the technological changes? Moreover, we have seen too much of hybrid sessions during COVID. I assume that's 19. Could there be experts of some kind behind AI? Nelisiwe, do you want to take this particular one? Who came up with the technological changes? Moreover, we have seen too much of a hybrid session during COVID-19. Could there be experts behind this? Over to you.
Thank you very much for that question. You noted that in the beginning of the slides, I did share that we had key pioneers, most importantly, Alan Turing, who's known as the father of AI, as well as John McCarthy, who's also who first coined the term AI. But in terms of the use of a lot of digital and virtual tools of late, and because of COVID, um, that was mostly propelled by the the pandemic. Although some of the tools did exist prior to the pandemic, most organizations have been using collaboration tools. Like in my environment, I've worked with a lot of industries outside of South Africa. So in most cases, we use collaborative tools, and I work with virtual teams just to enable us to collaborate on whatever initiatives that we've been working on. So most of the tools are well known. I think the team also shared that during the segments. The well-known ones is Teams, the one that we're using now to collaborate. But some of them have existed. I would say new ones would be like your Zoom, which emerged just with the pandemic. So one could say that during the pandemic, there's a lot of technologies that did emerge, and there was rapid application development. To date, we even have ChatGPT, which is using generative AI. There has been some positive attributes in terms of ChatGPT. I know some students in the US have been negatively implicated in terms of misuse of those particular platforms. However, if used, well and used for a positive objective, AI really can really help us in all our activities. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's go on to our next point. Good morning. Thank you for this interesting topic discussion. Appreciate your efforts. You are welcome. And then good day. How can we use AI to improve efficiency in the healthcare sector without interfering with job security? I stand to be advised. Do we have someone from the healthcare sector who can advise on the panel? Thank you so much.
I think Victor will have good ideas from organization. Yes.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Victor.
Yeah. Look, I mean, AI. You can use AI, during your diagnosis and screening. Also when you look at the your X-rays and CT scans, AI can be used to detect where issues are and help to diagnose where you can actually come up with the solution of whatever issue it
Open.
has been discovered. Can you guys, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
you
we
are.
can.
Please proceed.
All right. And also, AI has been employed to accelerate the process of discovery potential treatments and vaccines. We have seen this during the pandemic. Also the contact tracing. Remember when people will be, diagnosed with what do you call, with COVID-19. By the use of AI tools, you can actually trace people who are, who have been, exposed to the disease, and also be able to trace them by using the data. So it has really been a very powerful tool to tap into, to be honest, during that period. So there's a lot of benefits within the healthcare space as well. A lot of things that you can use to speed up even finding the treatments, finding proper medication using the tools of the powerful tools of AI. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Victor. On to our
Just
next
just to
question.
add,
Yeah, sure. Please
Valencia,
proceed,
before we
Nalisiwe.
continue, just to add on what Victor is saying, so we can get a clear picture of how all the components of AI are contributing towards these different environments. And then going back to what Victor was saying, AI has all those algorithms that I mentioned earlier on, and the certain rules that analyze very vast amounts of data and data processing. Earlier on I mentioned the NLPs as well as the neural networks, which are very much involved in terms of processing vast amount of data. This is mostly used in patient records, and I also spoke about visual computing, where patient imaging or scanning, as well as aiding diagnostic and personalized treatment for patients. And of late as well, we have wearable devices that we wear, like your Apple watches. Not that I'm promoting Apple, but I'm a very avid Apple fan. You also see that in those wearable devices that track and monitor your pulse, your high blood pressure, your calories, and just to track all those health parameters. And this provides real-time feedback and also alerts you in some instances of potential health issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Victor. Would you like to do a follow-up? Okay, thanks. Our next question is, greetings, everyone. Thank you for the informative session. Can more be done to utilize AI technology to fight crime? Example, use of drones and the use of data science to deploy more policemen to crime spots in the country. This is an open question, colleagues.
Um, I can take this one, Vanessa, because like I mentioned earlier
Please
on,
proceed.
AI can be used positively as well as negatively. So on the one hand, you can have criminals that could steal your identity, due to AI. They could mimic your facial recognition and even perform other criminal acts. Like we've seen now, there's a lot of cybercrime. But AI can also be able to be used to prevent such. We've seen now with the latest technologies, there's GPS tracking, which also uses predictive analysis, which is also attributed to AI. For an example, if a criminal was at a particular place where a crime was committed, police are able to access perhaps the GPS coordinates to track whether your phone was there or not. This is all to predictive analysis that has been built in. as inputs data into. That's essentially how GPS works because they use memory, which is actually processed faster than the human brain. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nelisiwe. On to our next question. How can we address the risk of AI in social media in terms of lack of quality and objectivity, especially for unaware ordinary people?
Desiree, want to take this one?
So I think in terms of the security aspect, I think Victor would be more of an expert on IT security on social media. I think that's essentially what the question is. Social media in terms of lack of quality and objectivity. Sorry, maybe not. Bomani, can you expand on that perhaps in the chat? Just unpack it for us so that we know what exactly you mean by lack of quality. Is it a security quality or
Is it a security concern, Valentia? Is it from that perspective?
My apologies, I forgot to unmute. Yes, from the question, it is a security concern. So it's with regards to crime in the country. Thank you.
Okay.
just ask it again?
Sure, will do. The question reads as follows. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for the informative session. Can more be done to utilize AI and technology to fight crime? Example, use of drones and use of data science to deploy more policemen to crime spots in the country.
Okay. As far as data is concerned, Valentia, from my perspective, I would say yes. AI can be used. However, I cannot speak for the police force. So it's not my area of expertise. Thank you.
Well appreciated. Our next question is to Regent Business School. Is this Regent Business School based on AI only? I'm assuming it was about the webinar. Nelisiwe, is it based on AI only? Please advise.
This particular webinar,
Yes.
it's based on technology and leadership, and the key focus is on AI in the real world, how AI is impacting us in our daily life.
Thank you for that clarity. And then our last question is, or statement, cybersecurity challenges. How will AI maneuver into dealing with scams, especially on social media? People tend to be used in scamming people, like saying, I've received my item, in luring people to fall on the trick. I think you've already addressed this question with regards to how we need to consider the impacts of deep fakes as well as social media scams and the importance of understanding whether the target market is in consideration of the legal environment in which we operate or it's just criminal activity. Would any of you like to take the question? Yes, Victor?
All right. If we look at in terms of the cyber security, AI has the power to, do threat detection using algorithm to analyze the vast amounts of data that has been identified, through the patterns and the anomalies. The intrusion detection and prevention as well. It's got that the capability of doing that, right? And also in terms of the incident response, AI powered system can assist in automating incident response processes. They can quickly assess the severity of an incident and provide a real-time recommendation. That's the power of AI at the moment. Yes.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, I'd like to bring to your attention that my apologies. We have, okay, So there's one more question that came up. So will we get jobs? Will we get jobs? That's an interesting question. I think the unemployment rate in the country has statistically been shared, and one needs to consider the impact of unemployment rate, but also more specifically from an entrepreneurial perspective, what do you bring to the sector, and how do you then possibly present your business case so that you are able to create a market for yourself, or engage in an emerging market. But over to you, colleagues. Will we get jobs?
Vanisha, I think Manu would have better ideas in terms of how we can leverage on AI to position ourselves for positions. um, she's within that psychometric space within the future of work, etc.
Thank you. Manoa, over to you. Manoa, please unmute.
Hi there, I'm here. Sorry.
Thank you. You can proceed.
Sorry. Can we repeat the question, please?
Sure. The question was, will we get jobs?
Of course. So this is something when you asked the question earlier about how AI will take over the jobs. There was a question that said that the AI will definitely take over the jobs. So I personally believe that that's not true. Um, you know, what AI brings to the table is something that we all have to adjust with in our daily lives. But in my personal opinion, or what I've seen in my work, well, whatever experience I have, is that AI will never be able to take over the expertise that you bring to the table. AI might make our lives easier and enhance the process of the jobs, whatever they have out there, but it will never be able to take the expertise. For example, let's say in my job description, AI is never able to give the feedback that I'm giving to the candidates. AI is never able to do the job profiling the way I am doing the job profiling. Yes, they might be able to help me with the profiling and the different descriptions provided to me, but they'll never be able to do it how a human can do it. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
Thank you so much. It does. I see that there are two more questions. Good day. Where do we send an email for attendance certificate? Thank you. And is it free to apply, or will there be funds needed for schooling? Okay, I think those are region-based questions. I guess these are personal behind technological changes. Data needs to be developed in feeding the system to provide accurate data, but jobs will be limited. Okay, over to you, colleagues. Jobs will be limited. I guess that's a statement. Nelly Siwe?
Um, from my perspective, Vanisha, I would say, as indicated by our panelists, it's important that as leaders, we constantly adapt to the rapid, technological transformations to remain relevant. This also touches on what I mentioned earlier on in terms of upskilling, and also just adapting to the environmental changes in terms of understanding whatever technological changes are upcoming, and just keeping abreast of the changes in terms of all the future prospects in what we are now seeing as a rapid wave of technology. So that could keep one abreast as well as relevant to the ever-changing environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nelly Siwe. Colleagues, I guess that brings us to the end of our session. I'd like to thank you and really applaud you for participating today. Nelisiwe, is there something else that you'd like us to discuss, or are you comfortable with me closing?
We have reached the end of the session, and we really appreciate all the interactive interactions that we've had with the panelists as well as the audiences. And we do hope that you were able to draw some learnings to help you become a better leader. However, on the last portion, Vanencia, on closing, we have a few centering thoughts for leadership survival in the current technological landscape that we hope our audience can be able to take to grow as leaders within their current environments or prospective environments. The first censoring thought is leading with insight, not oversight. There's always a common misconception that as a leader, you need to have oversight over certain activities or oversight over certain teams and so on. However, to lead with insights means that we need to understand the times in which we live in, as well as be skilled in looking ahead with wisdom and be able to collaborate and engage at all levels. The second censoring thought is evolving and adapting. This touches a lot on what we've discussed already in terms of becoming a more impactful leader, which requires you to evolve, adapt with the ever changing environment, as well as scanning other factors such as pastel, which we also deeply touched on. And then the last one is leveraging the right tools, meaning as a leader, there could be other components that could inform your success. So it's important to have perception, which I would call it foresight. It's important to take risks, and taking those risks is quite imperative if you want to become successful in this type of environment. Financial, that's all the pointers that we wanted to touch on as far as censoring thoughts. And I hope that the audience will be able to draw learnings from this and all the other insights that our panelist has already covered, whilst unpacking the relevant segments on AI and the impacts in the real world. To this end, we would like to close this webinar and say thank you very much for your time. And we really appreciate, I know it's a Saturday, so really we appreciate you taking the time to attend the session. And we hope you enjoyed it. And we look forward to seeing you should we have future sessions in collaboration with Regent. Thank you very much. We'll stop here then for today.
Thank you so much. Stay blessed, stay safe, and may you continue to soldier on in this world where we have AI as the emerging new market. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes. And Vanessa, just one more point. So Regent will make the presentation available to all the attendees.
Thank you so much for that clarity. Okay, thank you and bye-bye then.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Cheers.
you. Bye bye.